Hello, welcome to week 3 of social media and sports marketing. This week we're going to be talking about campaigns and implementing campaigns using your social media resources and how you do this with your brand. So in week 1, we set up the tools, we set the foundation for your brand using social media. In week 2, we explore the objectives of why people use social media for their brands and how to take those objectives. And now we're going to take those objectives and apply them to social media campaigns, and so that we can actually achieve the goals and work towards achieving the goals. So, with that said, we're going to start with campaign development, and we're going to look at how campaigns work and how campaigns fail. And how campaigns fail, there's a few things in what they can do. In this one story with McDonald's, they came up with this campaign idea called McD Stories. And with this campaign, they wanted people to tell stories about their experiences at McDonald's and use the hashtag McD Stories. While they thought, people might resort back to their childhood and thinking of these great ideas or these great experiences, especially back in the day when they used to have birthday parties and playgrounds and everything at McDonald's, instead, it had a negative effect, and people start talking about negative experiences at McDonald's. So they were monitoring their campaign, and they saw that this was getting a lot of negative feedback. So within 2 hours, they were able to pull the campaign off the internet. And as a result, they only saw 2% of their mentions that day discussing this story. However, it did have a long-lasting effect because it was known as one of the worst campaigns of that year. So some of the other things that happen besides backfiring, as I just discussed, is getting no response. Basically, you put something out there, but no one retweets, no one comments. When this happens, you need to look at the factors of what time are you posting the content. How did you maybe even word the post? What can you change to try to reach your audience in a different way? You also might get a negative response. Basically, you put something out there and you don't get the response you want. You can do A, what they did in the McDonald's story, by addressing the issue and taking the campaign down. Or B, you can leave it out there and use it as an opportunity to make a change and to listen to your audience. Bad timing is another issue. Think about, when did you release your campaign? Did you do it when there was another big event casting a shadow over your campaign? Or did you maybe even release it on a Sunday evening and your audience isn't online during that time? So, it's all about the time. What's happening? What's going on? Are you doing something that's related to the top 10 gift ideas for Christmas in July? Everything should be timed out appropriately. You want to make sure you don't do it too early, not too late. And so you want to follow the trends within your industry. Another issue is lack of exposure. Are you using all of your resources to promote your campaign? Or are you just using Twitter and maybe you don't have a big Twitter following? Because that's going to be a big fail. And this is why in week 2, we look at, your objectives and what resources you're using to fulfill your objectives and planning it out. You will need to have a hub for your content. You need to be able to promote it on different platforms. Make sure people are seeing it and creating a map and creating a plan for your campaign. Also, lack of organization. Did you create a plan at all? If so, does your plan have any holes in it? Can people follow it? Are they going to have a great user experience? Or are they going to question it? Did you have a contest but not give them a way to submit the information? Or did you not tell them how they're going to get the results? Make sure that everything is clear and that you're answering all the questions that your user might have. All right, so the next thing is how campaigns work. McDonald's had another campaign where, unfortunately, they were being put in the media for people littering their products. When they would leave the cafe, they would leave trash out everywhere. And this was something that was beyond McDonald's control. So To be proactive, they decided to create an anti-littering campaign on their website. And in an effort to do this, they created an interactive game that people could then share their results on the internet, and they could also upload their own image to play the game, and so or whatever images they wanted, and so it personalized the experience and made it interactive. They made sure that everything was easy to follow and the user experience was seamless. So, from uploading the image to playing the game to prompting you to share information on social media and giving you the buttons right there. The whole experience was seamless and easy to use. And you want to make sure that you're using your campaign, or that you have other people testing it out to make sure that they get that seamless experience as well. Otherwise, it could, make people lose concentration of where they should be going and end up somewhere else instead, or not sharing anything because you didn't prompt them to share it. This is why we have share buttons and follow buttons and all these different elements on your pages in week 1. It's all for a purpose. So some of the ways that campaigns work or is having an organized strategy. If you have an organized strategy, again, it makes it a seamless experience. You know what you want and you know how you're going to achieve it. You know what your goal is. You know what the measurable goals are. And at the end of the campaign, you can see that you clearly reach those goals. You know exactly how you want your content to flow. Are you trying to get people from your blog to Facebook to Twitter? Or are you trying to get them to go from Twitter to Facebook to your blog? What is your overall goal? How are you driving that traffic? You also want to use attention-getting topics. In this story, they used anti-littering, the environment. The environment is a huge issue that people are concerned about. They even have days, dedicated to the environment. You have Earth Day. You have it on your political campaigns. The environment is one of the big topics that people talk about. And so McDonald's latched onto that because they knew that they had an audience. They made the experience interactive. They got the fans involved and got them coming back. They created a reason for them to have a return visit and to participate and share. They were creative. They thought outside the box. They didn't do something that was just, mindless that people have seen over and over again that caught their attention. You want to use creativity, even graphics that are creative, something that makes your campaign stand apart from the rest of your brand materials or from other people's brands. Why would they choose your brand and choose to participate with your brand over other people, or how do you lure people into your brand? Again, you want to make sure that your campaign is easy to use and share, that they're prompted to share something, that you're not driving them away from your assets to use the materials that you're embedding it maybe even within your blog. You wouldn't, for example, want them to take a quiz outside of your brand assets and send them to SurveyMonkey. You would want to take that and embed it into your blog so you're keeping your audience captive. And, or if you're linking out to something, making sure that it opens a new tab or a new page. And then sometimes, it's just luck. Luck is the whole reason why things happen, and you can't really do anything else. It's pure luck. That actually, I was thinking about that, happened to one of my friends. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the viral success. It was called Glowy Zoe. He created this online campaign, or not even a campaign, a viral video of his daughter wearing this Halloween costume that he created for her. That she was like 2 at the time, I believe, and she was wearing a black outfit, but it creates a stick figure. And so it looks like this running stick figure of this baby, and it's adorable. And it was a perfect Halloween costume because you can see your child. Well, the success went viral. And I remember watching him, and he had 1,000 hits, and then it was 100,000 hits, and then 1,000,000. And I believe it ended up having over 20 million hits the first year. It was so popular that he created a whole product line out of his Halloween costume for his daughter. They were seen on Ellen, Good Morning America, The Today Show, and all these other platforms, all because he posted a video on the internet and now created business out of it. And it went viral again this year when he had new videos and new ideas. The first time he actually posted video using that concept was of snowboarders, and it did not get the success at all that the one of his daughter had. And it just was the right timing, the right people saw it, and it went viral. So sometimes it is just luck. All right. So you guys are going to be creating your campaigns this week for your brands. Again, like I said, you guys created your brand assets. If you have not made the updates that I suggested in week 1, make sure you guys go back and make those updates. It's going to be imperative to your campaigns and the success of your campaigns. You also want to make sure that your Google Analytics are working, because if they are not, you're not going to be able to measure the success of your campaigns. You're also going to make sure you're looking at your objectives and you know what is the best objective for your brand at this time. And so you're going to think about those things as you start to create your campaign. All right, so I'm going to take you through the following steps: audience research, setting an objective, auditing technology, developing a plan, content creation, and delivery. All right, we're going to start with audience research. You guys have had 2 weeks to work on this, and I really want you to get a little bit more in depth with your audience research. Think about, who is your current audience? Who are the people following your brand at the given moment? Are they just friends? Are they students? Who are the people following your brand? Because these are the people that you know that you have to reach now, and how do you use them to reach the audience that you want to be reaching? And you want to look at that. Who are you targeting specifically? Who is your segment target demographics? And I want this to be detailed using all the list of questions within demographics and psychographics. Think about who these people are. The reason why it's important to be so specific is that eventually it will cost your company less money to know exactly who you're going after. Because while, yes, we all want to reach everyone, ideally, that's not going to be the case unless you're this huge company. And even they segment their target audience for specific campaigns. These are people they're showing in their imagery. These are the people that they're talking to, the way that they're using verbiage. You're going to talk to a child much differently than you're going to talk to a teenager or a young adult, somebody middle age, and even the elderly. Every person you talk to has different ideals and morals and values, and so these are the way that why you want to segment your target audience, and so that you can create a campaign around that. You also want to look at, honestly, how do they currently view your organization, and how do you want them to view your organization? Word choices and things that you choose and imagery are all going to be important in making this change happen. The next thing you're going to look at is setting your objective. And now you're going to set a broad objective. And these are the list right here. You have, changing the brand image or company image. Engagement. Maybe, you have an audience and you have the brand awareness, but now you need people to interact with your brand. Revenue generation. You have the audience, but now you're trying to figure out, how do I make money? And this isn't just creating t-shirts or things like that. This is, you could even be through sponsorships, or through writing articles, or through you're reviewing products, things like that. Customer loyalty. How do you get that return visit from people who are already interested in your brand? Participation. How do you get people to participate with one another? They're not necessarily having a conversation with your brand, like engagement, where you're talking back and forth with them, but you're getting them to participate in an activity and share their results with other people, or to share information with other people, or have a conversation with other people about your brand. And brand awareness. This is one of the most broad ones that a lot of you people might have as your objective as your brand is growing. How do you get people just to even know about your brand, and to see your brand logo and to know what that means, and to consider your brand when they're, making a choice to maybe even listen to sports news or movie news or whatever it is that your topic is about, that why would they tune into you to get their information? Actually, before I even go to that, I also want to bring up, too, you have your SMART goals, which we talked about last week, but I want to re-review. These are going to be your goals that break down and that they're measurable. They're timely, they're measurable. They tell you the who, what, when, where, and why. They have a key performance indicator within them. And so you're going to have that key performance indicator, and you're going to, know what you will be measuring, so that on week before, when you're looking at your results, you can say, okay, we were looking at unique first new visitors and we were trying to increase them on our blog. Well, this was our specific SMART goal, and we were trying to do this with over 4 days. Now, did we meet our goal? Or did we not, and why? All right, the next thing you're going to look at is auditing your current technology. So, which social media platforms do you already have? How involved are they? Which ones do you use the most? Which ones do you have the most followers on? Because it's going to help you figure out where to start, where you need to build, and how you can use those resources to help you meet your objective. For your assignment this week, you have to use Twitter. You have to use your blog. You have to use a social news site. You have to use at least one additional social networking site for content. You have to use Google Analytics and incorporate it somehow. And you should also have analytics tools that measure every single one of your SMART goals, which you should at least have 3. You want to look at potential new assets as well. So maybe you're not using Instagram because it wasn't required for this assignment, but you find great value in Instagram and you have a smartphone and it's going to benefit you through your campaign. So maybe you could implement that. Why would you do that? Why would that work better than Pinterest? You want to evaluate it and see why you would use this to get effective results. And then you want to make a selection and figure out which results are going to help you. Which tools are going to help you have effective results within your campaign, and which ones are going to make it flow smoothly and give you everything that you need. Are you trying to do a live event? Okay, well, which tools are going to allow you to do that? Is it going to be YouTube? Can you actually do that there? Do you need to do a Google Meetup? Or is there other tools that allow you to do it? And you want to think about this. All right, the next step, developing a plan. Or your resources. Before you actually start assigning roles, you need to figure out how much time do you have to devote to the project. If you only have 3 hours a day, and you're only doing 4 days, you need to think about that. How detailed can your project be if you don't have enough time to devote to it? Also, is it just you or is it somebody else helping you? Are there people pushing out your content? Are there people helping you with your design? Or are you in charge of everything? Because you want to make realistic goals based off of your realistic resources. Additionally, you want to look at what events are happening. Is the Super Bowl happening? Could your topic of your content be around that? Or is it, the March Madness or what else ever is happening? What can you do, and can you center your project around that? Or are you writing on basketball and it's a huge football event happening? Okay, is it going to be overshadowing it? When should you time your content then to go out so that it's not overshadowing it? And how do you do it appropriately? And these are all things that you really need to evaluate and look at because you want to time things so that they go out at a smart time. The next part of developing a plan you want to look at is your connection. Know where you want your viewers to end up and what you want them to connect with. So again, do you want them to go from your blog to Facebook to Twitter, or your Twitter to your blog? What direction should your traffic flow in? Because this is going to be appropriate in the way that you link your content, where you post things first. Where should they be entering in results? Where should they come back to find information? You want to have it all planned out. Also, you want to be able to create your timetable. You want to know how long is everything going to take? How much time do you have to prep your event or your campaign? When is all the content due? Is it stuff that you can pre-plan, or is it something that you have to do every single day? Maybe there is a game that you're watching and you're live tweeting it, and then you're going to do a follow-up. Or you're going to do, a pre-game analysis and a post-game analysis. Well, you need to set that on your timetable and say, this is what time the game is. This is who's playing. I need to have my prep time, before this so that this can go up before the game. And then I need to have my other analysis going out right after the game so you can time that accordingly. And that you need to promote it right then and then again in the morning to make sure it's fresh in people's minds. Because if you post it too late, it might not be valuable. If you have other people helping you write content too, when are you going to be able to approve it so that it goes out on time? And when will it be released? So there's all different factors to play when you are creating campaign and content in a timetable. All right, now once you have all the foundations and you know what you're dealing with it, then you can assign your roles. You can assign who's working on what and when. Are certain people assigned to certain topics so that you don't overlap content? Are certain people doing research? Other people are writing? Other people are doing the design aspect, filming, being on air, interviewing? What is everyone's role? Do you have any policies? Do you have a voice that's behind your words? The way that everyone should write the content so it sounds like it's coming from the same person? Does it have the same guidelines? Do you have a policy that says you're going to get back to people within a certain amount of time? Or are you writing a contest and you should have contest rules? If you go to the class Pinterest page, I have an article from Carrie Gorgon, I believe, that talks about that. And it talks about the different rules and guidelines for when you do create a contest. Do you have company procedures that way that people should have content flow or what they should do? That maybe the certain design needs to go out with everything, or you have certain campaign colors that you're utilizing and what they should be. Let's see. Make sure that you have consistency on all platforms. And so when you make these design updates for your campaign, which you should to promote it, you should be adjusting all your cover images so that they are promoting your campaign. Make sure that you're, making it consistent across all platforms and so that it feels cohesive. So if I go to your blog, your website, your Facebook, your Twitter, it feels like I'm on the same branding platform. And again, make sure that your tone is the same across the board. And it sounds like it's coming from a unified brand tone and not that it's just different people's opinions, unless, you have characters within your brand and they have their own opinions. Messaging tone, make sure again that your content sounds familiar. And if there are rules and guidelines, again, make sure that you iron them out. Okay. The next part of developing your plan is identifying your monitoring tools. So based off your goals, what tools can monitor them? So if you are measuring Facebook engagement, you will not be able to measure that with Google Analytics. You will have to use Facebook Insights to gather that data, or if you have a more skilled tool to do that as well. Because Google Analytics cannot measure that. So you want to look at the key performance indicator as well that will be measured. And you want to make sure, again, that every platform you choose can be measured and that they can each measure your goals. And you want to look at that ahead of time. You also want to identify your delivery tools. So what tools are you using to deliver your content? So you have your monitoring tools, your analytics tools, your delivery tools. Which tools are you using to push out your content? And which tools are you using to create your content? So are you using StumbleUpon to push out your content in Hootsuite? Are you doing some of the stuff live? Are you using your iPhone because you'll be live tweeting at an event? Or your iPad? If you're using your iPad, do you have internet without being connected to the a hotspot? Because you want to make sure that you have all these things ironed out. Think about it. When you go to a live sporting event, unless you're in the social media suite, you might not have internet access because all the cell towers, might go down because of so many people trying to get on them. So these are all things you need to think about in advance. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is content creation. So with this, once you create a plan, you now need to create and analyze your current content. What content already exists out there that you can repurpose? So maybe you already have a website or you've written content about a brand. And you can think about how can you reutilize the current content you have. Maybe there's something hidden on a page and now you can highlight it. Or something you wrote last year and now you can do an update again for this year. And what content are you going to have to change? You can also think about what content you're going to need to create. Is it going to be videos, images, written content? What content will be automatically planned out and which will not. And, you can go high stakes, high rewards, and even create viral content. Will you play it safe with a semi-controlled campaign, or are you going to take this type of approach? Because when you do use viral content, you cannot usually predict your results. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. There are some things, though, that can play into your favor in realizing if it's going to work or making it easier for you if it's going to work. If you're a big organization versus a small organization, so you already have a built-in audience. All right, so content creation. So when you're creating content, which you all have to do this week for your campaigns, Here's some things you can think about when you're creating new content. Ask questions. Think about, what are you going to say, or how can you ask your fans to participate with your brand? What are some things that might get them talking? You can ask them to comment on something or like a post if they think one thing. It happens all the time. If you're for the Lakers, comment on this post. Or if you are going for the Spurs, like this post. And you'll get people who feel compelled to get involved. You can share your content or others' content. So did you create a different blog post? How can you put it out there on social media in different ways? Is it a top 10 list? Maybe you share each part of the list, on each different post. And so you can create 10 posts from one thing and get people to come and look. Or you're revealing different things. Or did somebody else write something and you can share their post, yet create your own commentary. You could even write your own blog post based off somebody else's stuff, link to their post, comment on their blog, letting them know that you wrote about their post, and maybe they'll even share your point of view on their content or leave you a comment as well. So you never know how you can make that work for you. Also, you want to comment on your fans' posts, and create a conversation going, or like I said, on other people's posts, or current events, things that are happening in the media, things that are current that people want to talk about. Controversial topics are going to get more people talking than something that's a little bit more bland, so you want to think about that. Does that fitting for your brand? Inspirational posts. People love them. They like to share them, more importantly, with other people. Maybe they're not going to comment, but they're going to share. You can also request information from your fans. Ask them to do something, to share a story, to get involved, and make sure that you engage them when you do this. The other thing, as I talked about earlier, is viral marketing. The three things that make campaigns successful when using viral marketing are all in your reading. And this is, building a user base, creating a remarkable message, and creating a reason to share. So viral marketing is basically, the idea that a message is transferred effortlessly from person to person on a large scale. And this is usually done by exploiting common behaviors and utilizing existing networks. While most people aim for millions of views, the reality is that few mid-sized companies will ever see such success because the audience size just doesn't exist. Where when you're Nike or someone else, you have a built-in audience already. And so, when you're a company that has a large built-in audience, you're going to probably see different results. And so this is where luck can play into effect, or building your user base ahead of time. For this reason alone, companies need to think about how much money they really want to invest in a viral video. If it works, it will be extremely rewarding, but again, it's high risk, high rewards game, where the success depends on luck. Not only is an audience important, but you also need to come up with a remarkable message and a reason for people to share that message. And so we're going to look at a couple videos. I want you guys to look at this one with Troy Polamalu. It had 1.7 million views on YouTube. And here's the URL. You can see, it's engaging, relatable, and people can connect to it. Why? Because he's a popular player and he already has a built-in audience, and people latch on to that character, and the brand latched onto him because they had that built-in audience. And the nature of the video gave people a reason to share because it was something funny and humorous, and people like to share that kind of content. And you can look in when you see this video, and you'll see that the product that was being featured in the video is in the background because that's where you want the product to be. It should not be in the forefront. It should not look like a commercial. You should be, not a sales pitch. It should be something that's in the background and, not front and center again. So this brand does this, and I want you guys to look at it again and see who was the real brand being featured in this campaign. All right. This video of Evan Longoria making a barehanded catch before the ball hit a reporter was a great success on YouTube, and I actually even saw it again this year. because people start looking at it, and it went viral for a second time. It has way over 7.4 million views on YouTube. So after looking at the video that right here at the URL, why do you think it was successful? Is it the element of, was it real? Was it that it had a wow factor? In regards to sponsorship, what clues give away that Gillette sponsored this catch? Did you even see Gillette's name in the background? It's there, but it's definitely not front and center. Also, something that you guys didn't see was the title of the video. It said Gillette Young Guns, which was a clear giveaway that it was a sponsored video. But most people don't see that when they go to share it. They just look at it as something that's remarkable. So that's, one of the things you need to think about. Who is the audience? Is it built in? Do the people have an audience to, to get it out there? And based off that, too, you want to think about how much money do you really want to put into these videos when it's high stakes, high rewards. This other video is from the car Chevy Sonic. Now, Chevys weren't the most popular brand, but Chevy decided that they were going to put their marketing budget basically in for 2 years into this ad that they were going to launch on the Super Bowl, and that's why it cost so much money, on top of the fact that the video was expensive to make already, and they were going to make it an interactive viral success. So this started with on the internet, and the campaign launched on the internet. They got big players behind it. They got, celebrities who had their own shows, their own music videos to push it out there. And it was hugely, hugely successful. It's estimated that they spent more than $3 million just to promote this commercial, $15 million on Super Bowl advertising alone. And the results show that it was worth it. If you go to this case study here on Vimeo, you will see that it was worth it and the success that they had. I really highly urge you guys to go look at these URLs, especially if this Chevy Sonic campaign, just to see the viral success that one campaign can have for a brand and how it can relaunch that brand. Think about Old Spice and how they were relaunched with an ad that people thought was actually launched during the Super Bowl when it was launched during that time period, but not during the Super Bowl. So the last part of the plan is your delivery. And you want to make sure that you went through all these different steps, but once you get to this, you want to make sure that you're launching it on time. You're following your guidelines. This is why you set everything up, because you did it with a purpose. You also want to make sure that you're monitoring your plan, because if something happens and you have to take action like they did with the McD stories, you're there to take action. And you're monitoring your results to say, okay, well, maybe my audience isn't reacting when I'm posting the content this time, so I'm going to change it and put it at this time instead. You also want to evaluate the effectiveness of your results, and you're going to be doing this in week 4. And you're going to be seeing how effective was your plan. Okay, so week 3 discussion. Now that we kind of went over the material, what you guys are going to be doing is choosing a viral video. And based off your reading, I want you guys to identify the core components of a successful viral video. And again, you'll find this in your ebook. And I want you to show me that you can understand how to identify those and how that they are successful in the videos that you chose. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through and choose a viral marketing video. You're going to take that video and embed it into the post. And you're going to have to do a little research, too, on this video and to get some information on it. How successful was it? Why was it successful? When was it launched? What are the elements that you think, helped make it successful? And you're going to discuss all 3 different components of viral videos as they apply to the video you selected. So your first paragraph should be about, the audience. The second one should be about the remarkable message. The third one should be about the reason to share. And again, identify at least one example of each component as it relates to the selected video. Make sure you read through the entire instructions. Make sure that you guys are using your references appropriately. Make sure that you're including all the information listed within the discussion. And then your assignment 3 this week. The goal is to demonstrate a working understanding of how to build and implement a social media campaign. So again, you built the tools in week 1. you came up with an objective in week 2. And in week 3, now you're planning your campaign and you're going to launch it. Your campaigns should have a theme to them. It should not just be everyday activities that you would do with your brand. It shouldn't just be the creating content and putting it out there. It should have a central core theme. So if your theme is around the Super Bowl, well, then all your content should be related to that, or to the Hall of Fame or something like that. Make sure it has a theme and that all your material goes around it and you're changing your branding elements. You're going to turn it in 3 different things, or you're going to have 3 different things to do. One is your social media strategy document. It takes you through all the steps I just discussed. The second one is your campaign content document. This is going to be an Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to update this spreadsheet to fit your campaign. I give you a template guideline, but if you are not using that social media platform as one of your content tools, delete the tab. Or if you're using a new one, add a tab. If you're not posting content on a certain day or time, remove that date and time, or add dates and times that you need to add. Make sure that you customize this for your specific campaign. And then the last step is to actually execute your campaign, because if you don't, you will lose points and you will not be actually able to do your assignment because you'll have no results. It all depends on your results of your campaign. So that's why it's important to make sure Google Analytics is working and that your other analytical platforms are working. If you're planning to use Facebook Insights to measure your results, what stipulations are there? You need to have at least 30 followers. And if you don't have 30 followers, you won't be able to get the results for your campaign. So you might have to use a platform like Simply Measured to gather data. So these are all things that you want to think about when you go to execute your campaign. All right, if you guys have any questions at all about this week's material, please feel free to contact me at any of the forms listed here or on the contact page listed on the FSO platform. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I look forward to reviewing your campaigns at the end of the week. Thanks. Bye.